All right, hey everyone, Needs More Drums here, back in City Skylines 2 in our 100% vanilla region of Grand Keys. With the latest edition of the rail yard, county and local officials are pushing for the construction of 2 new passenger train stations, which will spur economic growth for the city of Percusiona. However, there has been a debate about how to integrate the new rail lines with existing road infrastructure. City officials believe that they have found a solution, and today we're going to see if that plan is going to work. We'll be building a local train station in West Percusiona, a central station in downtown Percusiona, and we'll also invest in a significant highway project to add capacity to the main road through Percusiona while eliminating potential at-grade rail crossings and intersections. There's a lot to do in this episode, so let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back to Grand Keys, and today we have a very exciting episode. So the things that we're going to build today are going to serve as some pretty critical infrastructure projects for us that are really going to shape the future development of the city. And so after this, we're really going to see kind of a transformation into some like very iconic characteristics. You know, one being this highway that's going to go through here, and the second is going to be, you know, these rail lines and the train stations are always, you know, train stations. A good central station is always a big focal point in a city. So building one is going to be pivotal to the city's growth. And then after that, we'll be able to actually dive into some of the redevelopment of this whole area. And so speaking of redevelopment, I want to talk about 2 things. The first thing is I want to talk about what I've done a little bit off camera. I just upgraded some of our city services and didn't think that it would be worth, you know, doing this in an episode. So I added a garbage truck depot to the recycling center to give us 10 more trucks. We have a total of 25. They're all in use, so we might have to think about another waste collection facility at some point, because there's just tons of this is the only waste collection for the whole region, and it looks like some of the trucks, since the processing capacity is good, but some of the trucks have a little bit of trouble kind of keeping up with the route. So there's that. The second thing is I realized that in Central Percusiona we don't have a dedicated medical facility, so I have plans to kind of think about a hospital in the near future once we figure out some of this other infrastructure stuff. So I didn't want to build a clinic in this region, or I guess in this district. Instead, what I've done is I've actually assigned this clinic over here. I've assigned it to Central Percusiona as well. So we have both clinics, both assigned to this district. This one is actually getting really full. And so eventually, you know, having a hospital over here will help alleviate some of the stress on this facility. That is a problem for a later time. And then finally, I upgraded our crematorium a little bit. So I added the additional incinerator and the refrigerator expansion. So this gives us 25 additional storage capacity, and the incinerator improves the processing capacity. So we're good there. We just have a lot of hearses driving around still, but the problem is that I cannot actually add this hearse garage because I just don't have the room for it. I forgot that you need to plan for that. So my bad, but this is the only facility in the whole region. So I think eventually we'll probably build another death care facility, maybe in Percusiona Coast or something, you know, a little bit down the line. But yeah, for now, that's fine. And then so the second thing I want to talk about is the Southwest Region Pack. So downloaded it, love the buildings, I've checked them out kind of online and stuff, and they look just absolutely awesome. The only problem is I don't really want to go through and rezone every single building. You know, this is kind of a temperate environment, and I like some of the old buildings. I like kind of the UK mix that we have in here for some of these medium density buildings, and I want to keep, you know, some of these like old kind of grayish brick buildings as well. However, in the future, I plan to kind of slowly implement some of the region pack zones. I don't really want to do too much with like the row housing is a little bit, you know, colorful and stuff, and not really kind of fitting with this region architecture style. It's a little bit, you know, obviously, as the name would suggest, a little bit too southwest, I think, for kind of what I'm going for with this. But what I do plan to do is definitely use some of the service buildings. Like, I love the fire stations, I love the schools. I think those are going to be great, and we're going to, you know, implement those kind of as we grow and develop. And then the second thing is a lot of the medium density and mixed use also look really good. Same with some of the low density commercial. It looks very American, which I like. I might go through and kind of redevelop some of these areas, and well, I guess as we redevelop, we'll add some of those zones in. So I'm not just going to go, you know, like I said, and rezone the entire city to the Southwest region pack, because I actually do like a lot of these assets still. I think they fit kind of with what the what the style of our city is at the moment. A little bit older, you know, a little bit more historical. And once we upgrade, like for example, like this whole area here, right? Like all of these buildings are probably going to be upgraded at some point in the near future as we increase the density. So as we do that, we will, you know, kind of fill in some of those Southwest style buildings as necessary. So stay tuned for that. But just know that I like it. I've seen it, and I'll probably, you know, kind of mix it in here and there, in addition to what we already have going on here. So anyway, today the first project that I want to do is focus on these couple of train stations. So we're going to start with this one over here in the West Percusiona area. And I think all that I'm good, I feel like it's going to take a little bit to kind of get these all set up and kind of built up and detailed up a little bit. So we might not actually be able to do any, you know, zoning expansion today or anything like that. But at the very least, I think these two projects, like I said, are going to be absolutely crucial for us. And then we can really dive into some real development, some real expansion, like filling out, you know, this whole area and everything. But I wanted to get these train stations here first. So for this, my plan is to put a train station right here. As you can see, that's going to sever. Well, actually, you might not be able to see this yet. Let me jump into the train menu. And the first thing that I'm going to address is the fact that the train station is a little bit longer than I thought. So I thought I was going to be able to fit it in before this road here, but I think that is just not going to happen. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of level this out. You can see there's a little bit of a dip here. And we're going to put the train station kind of right here in the center. And then what I might do is try to find a way. I would like to find a way to keep some sort of connection here-ish. You know, I want to kind of, maybe I have to go around this way. Maybe I have to, it's kind of too close to these roads to go underground. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I almost need this road here. Otherwise, option B is to actually make this a road. But oh no, we have a building on fire. Whoops. This guy not going? That's weird. I don't know. Anyway. Goofy. So yeah, so anyway, we have I could upgrade this road and, you know, just kind of have this wrap around here, but then that only means that there's this one connection from like this whole area unless you go on this avenue. So I mean, like, I don't know if that's the greatest. Oh, there he goes. That's good. Okay. But yeah, I do want to try to keep this connection here if possible. Another way, maybe I could try to see if I can bump this curve out a little bit and make the curve a little bit tighter. I might try that and just save this connection. I know it's at grade, but we're just kind of limited on space over here, so it might just be, you know, it just kind of is what it is, I guess, for now. But yeah, let me just see here if I would even be able to fit this at all. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it work with that curve. I really think I'm going to have to just kind of bite the bullet on this and delete this connection, and we'll kind of figure this out as we go. But let me just see here. So if I demolish these tracks and then I'm thinking about just using this small station. Actually, I might use a medium one. I think the medium one is a little bit nicer for this area. It does have the you know, the little building, which I think is good. Yeah, see, I could do something like this. Like, I guess I could connect it right to the... Oh, I could do that. I did not know that I could do that. And I guess the other problem, too, now is... We got this road connection that is necessary for this to be functional. Well, you know what? Actually, you know what I think we're going to do? I think we're going to do a little bit of a redesign here. So this is probably going to come closer to this road here. Right, and so I know this is a bit of a weird connection, but I think that it's fine. I think it's just fine, if I'm being honest. And you know what I actually might, I know this has our bus route on it, but I might remove this. If we relocate this bus route, I might remove this road and use this as additional, like an additional city block, because that's a really small city block. No, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Oh, there we go. That'll work. For now, we'll just use that for now. All right. So yeah, so this is, again, very temporary. We'll actually get to detailing this a little bit later, but I just wanted to get that place down for now so we kind of know where it's going to go. And I like the fact that these tracks now are offset a little bit from this road. That means we could actually put some buildings here or something and make this a functional space. And then here, I imagine we're going to put down, you know, just some parking lots. And I might go back and do a little bit more kind of evening of the terrain here and stuff. But for now, I'm very happy with that. I don't mind that at all. So now let's just go ahead and jump over here for where our central station is going to go. And this one's going to be interesting. So I originally had the idea of dragging this train line all the way down through here into this industrial area. But I'm kind of going to do it, but I'm kind of not going to. So given that, you know, historically this area would have been very industrialized, and it still is right now, I guess. But, you know, back in the day, you figured this would have been kind of like some kind of port. So there would have been a lot of rail traffic here and everything like that. But as we develop the city, I kind of have a cool plan for what I want to do with this. And it has something to do with the train line kind of not being there anymore. That's a little bit of a hint. But yeah, eventually this industry here is kind of going to get pushed out. And we may even go as far as decommission this coal power plant at some point in the future. So at the very least, you know, we'll keep this here for now. But I just kind of don't want to drag the rail line all the way out here just yet. And so what we're going to actually do is have the line terminate at the central station, which is going to be here. For the central station, I am thinking that I want to use this historic central station asset. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and it just fits with what I want. And it's a perfect size. The one thing about this city is that it's not that massive in terms of scale. So adding something, for example, like this central train station from the modern architecture pack, it's a cool asset, but it's just a little bit too big for this particular part of the region. I don't think that this city, you know, you zoom out, this thing just is kind of pretty massive. So I don't really want to use that right here. The French one's a little bit too small, to be honest. That's more of like a kind of a small town type, or a very small city type station. I think this is a little more of a mid-sized city. So the historic central train station is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Now, the one thing that I want to do first before I actually place that down is I want to mess with this terrain a little bit, because I'm going to do some artificial kind of juts out into the sea, sort of like this. And the reason for that is I want to eventually develop some stuff kind of around this central train station, and we're going to need the space. And, you know, again, this would have been an area that in the past would have been very industrial, you know, a lot of rail access, right? It would have had, it would have been man-made, I guess, is kind of my take. So I don't feel bad necessarily about doing what I'm about to do here, because this is what happens with cities. You know, you look at cities again like Chicago, any city that's on the coast, New York, you know, they have these big artificial man-made land masses that just go out into the sea, and it's just that's just what happens. So I don't really feel bad about it. But we're gonna do kind of something like this for now, and you know, we'll fix this up a little bit later. But just kind of so I remember that we're going to develop this, I'm just going to do something kind of crazy. Yeah, so you can kind of tell what I'm going for here. Like, this is just going to be something that there's going to be some attractions here, or some homes or something like that. This is going to be, you know, kind of a part of the downtown. But yeah, so for right here, we are going to just, do you need a road for this? You do need a road for this. That's interesting. So I don't really want to face the station this way, because I want it to be something that you see when you're driving down this avenue. You know, you come down through the central of this, the central, like downtown, kind of the center of the city, And then you're gonna just look at this beautiful building that's right here along this road. So we might have to get a little bit nifty here with where we put this, since it does require some road access. But I'm not gonna let that be a problem, because you can just see kind of what I'm going for here, just right at the end of this roundabout. You know, you have this beautiful central station. I think it's gonna look nice. And actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the roundabout's not really even gonna be there. So I don't really have to worry about this. This is gonna be part of the kind of the highway project that I'm gonna get to in the next part of this episode. So for now, I'm just gonna do something kind of makeshift a little bit. I think we're just gonna kind of set this off a little bit, kind of behind this avenue, and then we will focus on actually building out this whole area a little bit later. So for now, I'm just gonna do something very simple like this. And then we're gonna place our central station right there. So we are spending a lot of money in this episode, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it, I promise. And again, we're gonna see what happens with this highway project. I'm a little bit curious about how all this is gonna work, especially kind of once we get into this like downtown part right here. We might actually transition to kind of some stoplights and stuff. Again, like I'm thinking like kind of a Lakeshore Drive type deal. You know, it might, since we're not developing on this road, it might kind of make sense to have this kind of come down here. We'll have this connection for the train station. It'll all work out. And then kind of down here, I envision that this is going to be more of kind of like an on-ramp, off-ramp type situation. Whereas kind of here, you know, it might transition into just some kind of heavy arterial roads through the city center. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I like where that is. I like where that is, and I'm already kind of thinking about this nice open space here. We might be able to do something with this. I'm really liking this. I'm liking this a lot. One thing that I am going to do, though, right now, before I forget, is I'm going to make this a one-way. I love stuff like this. You know, I love like these little kind of sort of a square about, roundabout type things where it just kind of makes traffic flow in one direction. It's going to be really easy for people to get in here. Presumably, we'll have some kind of bus lane. And oh, there we go. I didn't know that worked like that. Wow, that is fantastic. Check that out. I did not know that's how the tool worked. I've never used the bus lanes before, so perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Nice. And yeah, so you can see what I'm going for this area, right? I think we're going to do something. This is going to be a really cool area, and I think I might even bump this terrain out a little bit more and kind of, you know, give us some more land to work with. And again, I don't feel bad about that, because this is, you know, going to be an older part of the city. This building is probably really old. I mean, it is really old. It's a historic central train station, duh, right? But yeah, so that's kind of all I wanted to do with this for now. Actually, let me connect up this train line here real quick just before I forget. Let me know. Does that make sense? The one-way tracks like that? I figure they can kind of come in, they would park, and then they can kind of come out, and, you know, we don't need to have this like this, you know, big double tracks right there. I think that should be okay. I would hope. But anyway, yeah, and then again, I'm not going to put any, you know, kind of through track here or anything like that. This is going to be the end of the line as far as I'm concerned for this area, and it is winter again. Wow, look at that. Haven't experienced a winter in a long time in this build, to be honest, or at least what feels like a long time. Usually I just kind of let the game run, and yeah. But anyway, okay, now is the fun part. So I am really excited to do this. So what we're gonna do is the plan is to kind of elevate all of this, because I want this to, I want to put the train track underneath the road. And so I'm going to keep like this roundabout. I'm going to keep like, presumably this is all going to become a bridge, and we have the space to do it. So these pathways are just going to get disconnected. Like this alleyway is going to get disconnected, but this is going to elevate up and over the track. We're going to keep the roundabout up here, I think, instead of doing some crazy intersection. And so when I say highway is kind of an overstatement. It's not really going to be as much of a highway as it is just kind of going to be a main, a very, very, it's an arterial that's going to have its, you know, it's not going to be connected to anything, right? So up here, we'll have this kind of elevate. This road might just go underneath. I'm probably going to have some exits and entrances on here somewhere, somehow. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. But yeah, cross our bridge in a minute when we get there. Alternatively, this may become a main road, which actually, by the looks of it, it might that might actually make a lot of sense. But think about that in a minute too. And then we'll probably have this come down to some like stoplights, like I said here, just kind of return to ground level. You know, we're not going to do anything crazy here. This will just be a very, very, again, just a very arterial road. I'm not going to zone on it, probably. I don't think. So I can get away with just doing maybe like a 6-lane, like a bigger road, something like that. And then here we will go back up, I think, to the elevation and the elevated road. And we'll kind of make it more of a highway. We'll have some highway on ramps, some off ramps. I know we have these roundabouts here and stuff, but these may just become some kind of interchange. We do have this plaza here. I kind of like this little area here. I might not get rid of that entirely, but at least this part might become kind of more of a highway type deal. And the only reason that I really want to make, that I wanted to make it a highway is because we can kind of link up into this highway here. But by the looks of it, it doesn't look like there's a ton of traffic here. So I'm not really sure if I want to actually end up doing that. It seems like a lot of the traffic is going to be coming, kind of this way. And mainly the main purpose for this is because of this train line. I want to just avoid the at-grade crossings with this very main road going through here. And then I want to give us some flexibility to be able to limit the zoning that's going to be on that road. And by elevating it and kind of making it more of a central highway focus rather than, just like a regular kind of main road through a city type focus, it's going to force us to look at alternative zoning locations. So anyway, let's just jump into a little bit of a time lapse. I'm just going to go ahead and just start building, kind of see what happens. I don't have I have an idea of what I want this to look like, but it's not super thought out. So I guess a lot of it is just going to be kind of reactive building and just thinking about, how everything's going to get connected kind of as we go. So just bear with me, just be patient, but I guarantee you that the end result is going to be something a little more interesting. It's going to be pretty functional, and I'm really, really excited for it. So let's jump in and get started. All right, so that took a little bit more effort than I thought, I'll be honest. Took quite a while to build this, but I'm actually pretty happy with the result. So we have this elevated avenue kind of main arterial road that in the future, if we need to upgrade this, we could upgrade this, but I didn't want to make it a highway because I kind of like the I like the divided median and stuff. I just like the look of the infrastructure on this. I think it looks cool to have it all as one piece instead of having, you know, like the separation in between the middle. So I like this for this area. And then we have these little roundabouts up here, and I opted for roundabouts instead of like some kind of, you know, big complicated flyover interchange complex thing, because this just isn't that big of a highway, I guess, if that makes sense. You know, I don't think that, you know, big like flyover ramps and everything would be very applicable for this area. Now that could change in the future. That could change, and we definitely have the space to work with. I've actually created more space by elevating this road. So you can see, you know, you remember where this high school was, the roads were right up against kind of these parking lots, but now we have this whole area. So I'm thinking in the near future, maybe we will kind of expand, you know, some of these roadways and make some kind of some space for either like a little more green space or even some homes or something we can kind of fit up against this road kind of in this empty space here. So really cool use of the space. I like this a lot. And then we have the train line here. You know, we have these different levels of elevation around this area, which is really, really cool. We'll see a lot of like, you know, cool activity here with the trains kind of coming by and the cars up here. I like that stuff a lot. It's really cool. And then finally, this, I'm a little bit unsure about what to do with this. For now, I just kind of left it as some stoplights, and I think it'll stay that way. I thought about doing like a double roundabout, but the roundabouts just looked a little too close. I think it would be a little bit confusing, and it's probably not going to hurt to have some stoplights right here. Because again, what I'm imagining is Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. So, you know, you come in right from the expressway, you come into kind of like a highway part of Lakeshore Drive, and then it transitions into some stoplights when you go past Grant Park, and then it transitions back into like a on-ramp, off-ramp situation of more of a high-speed highway. Even though the posted speed limit is 45, but people don't go 45 on Lakeshore Drive. So let me tell you that right now. But that's kind of the goal here, is to kind of keep traffic, you know, get it moving into the city and out of the city. But then when you're kind of in the city, you have some options. You know, we have the train station here, so this is going to be a little bit of a congested area. And yeah. And so now that we've actually built this, I'm going to press play for the remainder of the episode, because there's no need to have it on pause anymore. The cars will all find their pathways and they're all tweaking out. But yeah, and then this part of it, I'm happy with how this turned out. I wanted to keep it on the ground level, and you'll see why in a second, for most of it, and then just have kind of the bridges only where the roads are going underneath. And so I think that turned out actually better than I thought. The bridges are pretty even. It took a little bit of figuring out to try to actually figure out how to make this work, how to keep it all at the ground level, and how to get the terrain to work, you know, the way I wanted it to. But at the end of the day, it really just involves making an entire, you know, like what do you call it, like a big hill almost, all the way from point A to point B, kind of between these two roundabouts, and then just kind of cutting in with the roads and, you know, kind of sloping this all as like sort of one big segment, and then you kind of just drag the highway over the top of it. So I know this would have been way easier with mods. We could have just, you know, set the highway to ground level and kind of built it that way. But I think this is way more cohesive. It looks really nice. All the slopes are really, really smooth. The off ramps, I think they're appropriate, relatively appropriate grades. This one, you know, is a little bit steep. You can tell that kind of coming on and off here that they're a little bit steep, but overall, I don't think it's too bad. We do have to fix some lane mathematics, but we'll get to that in a second. So now the last thing to do for this episode is to start kind of detailing all of this up. So for this, I want to add a median, like a custom median, which is why I kept it on the ground level, because I can plant some trees and stuff and make this look really pretty. I think I might do something with either trees or sound walls for this part, because since we do have homes here, and I kind of added these roads here thinking that we might be able to even squish a few more homes in here eventually. So we'll see about that. But yeah, and then we're gonna put some trees all along this road. I don't want any parking on this. This is going to be a main arterial road. There should not be any street parking. And then same thing kind of here. I don't know if I probably won't add trees, since this is a bridge. I don't think we can add trees in the middle, but we can add maybe a bigger median or something like that, just to, you know, make this road a little bit more of a prominent feature. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to detailing, and then we'll also detail up the train stations, and then we'll call it an episode. So let's jump into one more time lapse. Won't take too long. Let's finish this up. All right, and so I know I said I was going to detail up this train station, but I think we're just going to leave it here for now because I have some bigger plans for this area now that I've been kind of thinking about it. I expanded out the land a little bit. I think we're going to kind of make this into a pretty nice downtown waterfront area. Maybe think about some kind of park, you know, some high density residential, some commercial office, things like that. So this is going to be a really cool part of the city, kind of the central downtown. And then before we end, though, I do want to add a couple of upgrades for this. So we do have a rear exit. I'm not sure. Actually, that might be a nice addition, the rear exit. So that way we could have people along this road be able to access the train. I'll consider that a little bit later, but what I do want is this commercial front. So it adds little shops and things. And I think that's money well spent. It'll increase the comfort of the station and also add some nice little props to the front, making it look a lot more lively. So we're going to keep that. And we got small city. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. And we got this signature building. Ooh, that's very cool. Interesting. That'll be a nice addition to the downtown. But yeah, I envision that around this, we're going to make this into a little bit more of a transit hub since we have this small bus station here. As I said when I built this, this is going to be very temporary. We'll probably move this somewhere over here, have a bus terminal. We'll probably hook up maybe even some trams in the future. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a little tram infrastructure going around the downtown or some kind of metro setup. But I'm going to keep this all very open. I'm sure we're going to add like a parking garage, something like that, you know. So this is going to be a very busy area, and we're going to, you know, develop this a little bit later as we see fit. And then with this station, we just added some trees. I was trying to figure out some good ways to get parking in this area. So I forgot that we had this alleyway with the parking on it. That really helps. And then this here we have a two-way alleyway with, you know, a little single row parking lot there. That looks pretty nice if it says so myself. And then we'll develop these city blocks around here in future episodes. So while I was detailing this, I noticed we had a bit of a death care crisis. Again, something we will address very soon. I think maybe the next episode, the focus might be something like building a hospital, building some an additional death care facility somewhere in the region. Then maybe detailing up, well, I guess not detailing up, but actually building out some of these city blocks here around the stations that we just built. So as you can tell, major infrastructure changes in this episode. The city's looking a lot different now that we have this kind of elevated highway through here. But I guarantee that once we start increasing the density around this area, building out some more developments along this, it's going to look really good and it's going to function really well, and will help us bring traffic, you know, kind of move it around the city in a much more effective way. So really happy with how this turned out, especially this highway. I think this looks pretty good. I like the trees in the middle. I think it looks really nice. We added some sound barriers, and then obviously these trees are just kind of placeholders for now. Maybe we can kind of push the development a little closer to the highway, you know, just a little bit. I mean, I don't know, but either way, looks way better than it did in the past, and I'm really happy with that. So this was a very busy episode, and I'm really glad with how this all turned out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll actually get back to some building instead of just kind of building some roads. I know this can be long and tedious, but it is definitely necessary. So thanks again. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace out.